Merry Meet. This is Lua Soleil from Cauldron Born of Avalon, and today I wanted to talk about how to connect with the Winter Goddesses or the Yule Goddesses, because I have struggled myself to connect to Goddess this season, so I thought maybe other people had the same problem, and I wanted to share my experiences with you and how I have managed to connect with her, although I have struggled a lot. First of all, I think this is a characteristic some people have, not connecting in winter and summer with Goddess, and other people have another characteristic, another personality, and they do not connect to Goddess in spring and autumn. I am from the group of people who doesn't connect with Goddess in the summer and in the winter. So for me, Yule, even though it's beautiful, I struggle. And now that I am on my priestess path, I thought it would be different, but it wasn't. I just don't feel very connected in Yule in the winter time. At least not as connected as I feel in autumn and spring. So on the Avalon wheel, which is the wheel I'm working with right now on my training to be a priestess of Avalon, we have Danu at this point of the year, and the north for us represents air. And this is something I need to say first of all, because for a lot of Wiccans or pagans, north is represented by the element of earth. I don't disagree or agree with all of this. I'm just working with a different wheel right now, but I've worked a lot with the north being represented by earth, and I still feel that this season is very earthly. On this season, I felt both of them, air and earth, both elements, in the sense that I have wanted to go symbolically under the earth to hibernate like some animals do. I have had this feeling of staying at home and just, cuddle or stay in bed, and it's normal. And on the other side, I have had this feeling of my mind being all over the place, not feeling grounded, and I think that is normal too. Winter is air because it is the northern winds who bring the snow and the cold, and it is also earth, and that's okay because mammals go under the earth to protect themselves from that winter and that air. So it's normal that you feel all over the place with this air that is coming in, and that you want to feel grounded and go back to the earth. And that's what I've been feeling. But as I've always worked with the Wiccan wheel before, the one that most people know, having earth in the north, this year was new for me. I had to experience air and really acknowledge that this is a characteristic of this season. And some of it has come so naturally, like using sound, because I was Christian before. I was raised in a Christian culture in Spain. So Christmas is all about singing and using instruments like rattles and bells, and this all comes from ancient cultures, ancient rites, and that's what we have today. A season that is about air. It's going to have incense and music and chants and rattles and bells in it, in the Yule practices. So one way to connect to Goddess at Yule is singing, making up your own chants, just letting whatever chant wants to be born from you to flow outside and just chant whatever comes out. You don't have to be a musician, just get a rattle or a bell and sing with it. It doesn't matter that you don't know any Yule songs. Just chant and sing to Goddess and she will hear you. It was important to me to be heard by her on this season because it is the season of stillness and the void. And Danu is the goddess of the stillness and the void. And I felt her really distant and silent. So I kind of wanted to, wake her up or something. And chanting and using maybe singing bowls and bells, that will help. Another way to connect to Goddess is making your own incense to cleanse yourself, or essences, because Yule is a time for letting go. We have gone from Samhain, which is change and dying, to Yule, which is death itself. It's the still point between death and life, between dying and being reborn. So it's a time of letting go of everything that doesn't serve us anymore, and to go to our own core, which is the void. It feels like the void, like you're going through darkness. It is the darkest point of the year, the longest nights, and you can feel really scared and alone, and you need to ground yourself. So practicing grounding exercises also helps to feel connected again, to not feel all over the place, to feel connected to Goddess. It is normal that you can feel confused and nervous, and you may also feel stuck, like nothing is moving in your life. And it is because of the season. It is the stillness, and it teaches us also acceptance and patience. We have to be patient and wait until the wheel starts moving again. At this point you have Arianrod on the wheel. Arianrod is the goddess of the silver wheel. It was believed by the Celts that the spirits of the dead were carried on Arianrod's wheel to her castle. A castle where to find stillness and a place of renewal and learning. It was the place where the souls would rest between life and the next life, to be prepared to be born again. So this is a time of stillness and reflection. It is a time to go with Arianrod to her castle and reflect on our lives, be still and learn from ourselves, and to really see and know what we want and how we want to experience the new period of life that will be born at Imbolc. She reminds us of the stillness, that the wheel is now still and quiet, and we need to accept that. It is a time of darkness and of looking above to the sky and seeing all those stars and knowing that we can connect to them, to the star goddesses, to our star mother. And you can do a spontaneous ceremony to worship your star mother, to ask her for guidance through the void, and you can give her your wishes for the next year that is starting. So when the wheel starts moving, you will know where to guide your steps. Goddess at this time of year is also the bone woman, because when we die, we get rid of our bodies, and when our bodies are consumed, just our bones are left. And that's how we feel at this time of the year, that we get to our own bones, the core of our soul, of our life, and what is left. The little things that are left are the most important things in which you have to focus. So maybe you would like to meditate with the intention to feel the stillness, to feel the void, and to see what is left for you, because those are the things that are going to be important to you and this year that is just starting. You may want to go to nature, to winter landscapes, to feel the trees, to see the skeletal branches of the trees that have lost their leaves. You may want to feel the cold wind in your face, and let it wipe out all that is not necessary, your worries, your negativity, all the thoughts that are bombarding you with negativity. You can wish to her to cleanse all these thoughts that are no longer serving you. You can wish for clarity. One thing to feel connected to Goddess is always going to nature. So if you can go to nature and see the blue sky or maybe the grey sky, you can connect with her, with winter. And if you call her name, call it several times if you need it, but at some point you will feel her. I have struggled with this the whole season, and I still am, but I think the trick is just to keep trying. And in the end I have connected to Tyrono, one of the Morgans of Avalon, with whom we work in our training to be priestesses of Avalon. I have connected to Calach, a Scottish and Irish goddess of winter. And for this I just had to acknowledge her, to set my intentions, to know her. I searched for her myth, for her story, for images of her on the internet. And as soon as I started doing that, she came to me and it felt so right. And sometimes you will connect with one goddess and not to another, because I have done the same with Danu. I have images of her on my altar and I can't seem to connect with her, but maybe it's because I don't have to, or I don't have to connect with her this year, or other faces of goddess have been coming to me on this season for whatever reason. Sometimes you can feel like none of the goddesses you want to connect to respond to you, and this can be a struggle. But then you can just go to nature and try to feel what is there. How is Goddess in your land? How is she showing herself at this time of the year? How is stillness in your own land, on the landscape you know? Maybe she has another name there and you can intuitively know it. It's okay. You can name your goddess. It doesn't mean that you're making a goddess up. You're just naming something that is already there. I have also struggled to connect with Goddess on this season because most of pagans out there base the season on the rebirth of the sun, and they see the sun as a male deity. And first of all, in Avalon, we see the sun as a goddess, or as a goddess as well. But second of all, we see winter not as much as a period of rebirth, but a period of death itself. We focus more on the night than on the sun. And that is kind of a problem when you try to search for goddess on the internet and the Yule traditions, and you just see God celebrations all around. So I know other people celebrate the sun and the rebirth of God and all of that, but even though I respect that and that I have celebrated Yule as that in the past, now I just want to focus more on Goddess and what she's doing at this time of the year. And I think it's clear that winter is a time of dying. Nature dies, birds die because of the cold, because of not having anything to eat, at least in the colder climates. But also in the warmer climates, we have long nights, we have a lot of darkness, the darkness of the year. And the long nights and darkness has not anything to do with celebrating the sun. I mean, it's okay to celebrate that days are going to get longer, but if you focus on the present, what you have now are long nights. So that's why we focus on the night, the star mothers, Arianrod, who you can see on the Corona Borealis in the sky. And we reflect about death itself. I feel like this season is kind of the womb of possibilities. You are now in the womb, or you feel that pull to be in the womb, to hibernate, to be at home, to get away from all the stress and just to reflect on your life. But sometimes Yule is so still, you feel nothing is moving, not even your connection to Goddess. So, as I have said, some of the things that you can do is to first to name the goddesses you would like to meet or you would like to experience. For me, they have been Danu, Arianrod, the Morgan Tyrano, the Kalach, and of course Mother of Air, who's the mother of this season, and Nolava of Air, the Lady of Avalon of winter. Then you can search for the stories or the images or myths on the internet and maybe put those images on your altar and express your intention to Goddess to know those aspects of her. You can try and meditate with her, calling upon her. You can go to nature and call her, touch the trees, experience all the feelings that you get there. Be aware of where you are. Sit there if it's not too cold, or even if it is, and feel the cold on your face. Feel the air, how it cleanses you. You can make your own incense if you like that. You can make your own essences. I have learned on this season to make incense and to make essences, and it felt great. I made an essence for clarity, because the season is also about clarity, getting rid of the thoughts that confuse you and get to that clarity that the goddesses give you. It's the time of intuition, it's the time of divination, it's the time of dreams. It's very important that you write down your dreams at this time of the year because they can have really meaningful messages for you. You can also make up songs and chants as I've told you, and use your rattles like mine and your bells and you can decorate your altar with all these things, with your incense, with symbols of air like the rattles, and also if you collect some feathers from the floor you can put them on your altar. And as I said, I also feel the need to include earth at this time of the year because of that going under the earth and going into the womb that I've talked about. So I also put on my altar some gnomes as earthy creatures and a fox, as well as owls, which are the birds of Danu. Right now I have a mix of earth and air, and that's because that's how I feel. It's okay to make your altar the way that you feel and not the way you think it has to be. I thought my altar would be white and pristine like the snow, and that I would have so much clarity and visions and a deep connection to these wintry, snowy goddesses, and it wasn't like that. I felt more like in an empty space. I felt that face of the void and the stillness of being naked, like a bone woman. I felt like going to the bones of the situation and just be left alone in the darkness of night and wanting to hide into a little cave or something, which makes me think about Stone Woman, which is also one of the aspects of Goddess this season. So just experience, do things that inspire you. Don't try to follow a book or ancient traditions. Make your own traditions, make your own ceremonies. Connect to Goddess however you want, however you feel it's natural for you. I hope this was useful for you. I have struggled a lot to get to this point, so I'm just sharing with you what I have experienced this time of Yule, and I hope it helps you to have other ideas and another perspective about a Goddess winter season. So I send you lots of love and blessings, and see you next time on our next video. Blessed be.